All right, how are we going to control a populace? How would we do that? How would we do that? Well, let's just look at radio. Let's put this right here, radio and just newspapers. Let's try to stay on this just for a minute. How to control a populace. And I'm gonna be very calm. I know it's hard for me to do that because something in me is it's the Holy Spirit that people don't understand. It's like, I don't know. Okay, so how to control. Okay, well, we are given an alphabet, 26 letters. We're taught how to read. Okay. We're taught some math. So what you would do is remember, I've always talked about this, reset. So criminals, orphans, and slaves, and Roman soldiers, which would be Jesuits, and then the priest of Saturnalia, which would be Satan. Because they already, look, we're looking sort of at like a blueprint of how they set it up. How they created a nation and nations the same way that you would create your garden. That's right. And they've watered it, and they've nurtured it, they've spoiled it, and now it's time to neglect it. Okay? So when we're looking at a reset, because we know that every invention that we have right now was here prior with free power and technology that God gave us from the ether, from just right above the moon, and it's in the air. Oh, it's just, we can't understand it. Because when we go back to a reset, and we're looking at this, for what it is, okay? The cities were slowly set up under the guise of, you think it's good, but it's not. But it's a Vatican. Vatican is a corporation, and the subsidiaries of the Vatican is the nations. Okay, and they say the Phoenicians. Who the fuck knows? We don't know. Who knows? We're just sitting here. So if you're brainstorming and you're evil as shit, even though you do show mercy, it's crazy. I can't explain that. So I can to certain individuals because they might understand. They'd be like, damn. But let's get back to this. Okay, so we're real big time pimps, and we're going to create a mindset. We want to control individuals and create a mindset. So what we do is we destroy the old civilizations, blow them up, burn them, mud flood, cover them up. Give the land a little bit of time, the people living around here or whatever, because there wasn't a lot. And then what you do is when everything's been melted, it doesn't matter where you go, it's everywhere. They melt it and blast it, and mud flood it, and they fucking grade lands and countries the same way you would grade a fucking driveway or a yard. Oh yeah. And so once that had a little time, they slowly would ship in anywhere. Because the railroads, we already had railroads. Listen, we had, all this energy's free, and people can't just put it together. So once you can understand that these were all structures around us here, we'll just say here, they came in. They blew up signal, melted it first, melted everything around here. Even right over here, you can see it's sticking out of the ground. But your mind, you've never been, damn, man. And so they melted it and blew it up. And then mud flooded and different things. And then slowly created, and see all that melted stone everywhere. When it was melted, it grabbed everything coming down the hills, just like water. And then when it hardened, it would grab whatever animal they blew up and whatever else. And there's your fake fossils that was created probably not even 200 years ago. No, Matt, billions. No. Look, I'm showing you how they have created us just like a garden. Okay, so they melted it, blew it up. It's easy to see the structures if you look for it. It's easy. I've had plenty of high-powered developers that I do know through the network of me blasting and them actually having a conscience and going and looking at certain places and going, that is structure. And it's like, yeah. So, and then they repopulate, because for one, how they live up there on the mountain with no power? How? Slaves or anybody on that mountain? When it's like, 0 degrees sometimes, 5 degrees, snowing, just fires, there ain't enough wood up there. But anyways, let's get back to it. And then once it's mud flooded, it raises the level, covers up the old civilization. It's under it, and then what you do is you slowly start setting up shop. You put your railroad tracks, that's the man technology. Act like you're doing good over the top of the old world, which was us. And then you ship in the orphans. These priests and these Roman soldiers are bringing in criminals. The orphans are taken, however, baby factories, all kinds of shit. And then, of course, slaves, as you know. And then they reset these cities. And then when they reset them, they're going to create this illusion, which they did. They raised a couple generations to fight in a civil war for the excuse to cover up the fucking ancient structures that's right out there. And me and some people talked, and we're like, black people built all this shit. They blew up. And that's why they blew it all up and then put you right in the cities. And the white people too. So then they lay their railroad tracks, then they ship in the orphans, and then the criminals, slaves, Roman soldiers, priests of Saturnalia, set up the Catholic Church, bring in these other bullshit things, and then they know generationally, because they create the monetary system. Okay, remember, any one of these categories do not know how to farm or anything or take care of themselves. So we've got this fake industrial revolution coming. Machines. Well, when 100 people work in a factory, they're working for the machine owners. They're not working together. There's no learning going on. They are working for man. Although these individuals were given suits and ties, dresses, had no education. They were very controlled in the beginning. You got to remember, when you're just existing, you have nothing. The brain is supposed to be unlocked through certain steps and certain measures by the foods that we eat from the ground, because God pushes the minerals up in the cells. And see, the rubber blocks the magnetism coming through us. We had all kinds of cool shit. This is brands. Okay? We'll go into this now. Slave owners branded their slaves. Yeah. Okay, well, but who does Serena Williams and LeBron James and Tom Brady represent? Brands. So who would it be in disguise? Yeah, the owners. The big time owners to control everything. Control. But anyways, you slowly, they already know in generations that mindset through fake religion that we have now. It's control religion. It's a corporation and it's business. There's advertisements in front of churches. Hey, you come here. Come on. Jesus said in the last days you're going to be deceived. And look at everybody. And see, these minds that were just so weak, okay, instead of the mind being unlocked generations, this was the reset generation. There had to be a seed. We're going back to the seed. We're all involved, white and black. So, and the farming, gone. Outhouses, that is bullshit. That is a sign of showing people. I mean, you don't know, though, because your brain is so small. And so what they do is they set up shop, just like a corporation. Now we've got subsidiaries within the city. We got projects. We got rich section, poor section. We got the big church over here, small church, even though they're the same. We got the bank, which is Saturn. We got the judicial system, which is Saturn too, based off the zodiac. because the priest of Saturnalia, this is not good. Saturnian worship, black magic, dark magic, not good shit either. And then they slowly set up shop, and so that brain, okay, when they started saying, here, we've got a system, we want you got to be a citizen. And then to be a citizen, we're going to have to give you a number, stamp you and all that, and you're going to get money, and you use this money to spend. Well, here comes the materialism world. Here's Satan setting his shop up for the materialism mind, the dumb mind controlled from day one, giving newspapers, addresses, set up here, but you're controlled what you got, like newspapers, radios. They put the radios in there. Think about those minds. They controlled the whole nation. They never allowed anything out other than what it was mind control. And then that generation morphed into this generation, and that generation to this generation with zero knowledge of what the anatomy is made of. Nothing. And then here comes Edison and Ford in their 10-year trip across the nation. This is bullshit, but they went across the nation. Yeah, traveling. Yeah, look at these vehicles, because they knew gas is a lie, the oil's a lie. That's how they control everything. We got free power. We don't need that shit. And here they come. The old structured highways is what a lot of these interstates go through. If you just look around, they cut through, especially on 24 and 59. Chattanooga, they just cut through it. And then they set up shop. And then here comes the fast foods. Here comes, instead of farming, like real farming, there's thousands of things that we can grow other than just slaughtering all the animals. Because they forced you from this reset. You got to eat protein, which is hot dogs. It's crazy because that's whenever they set up like, hey, we're going to play ball. And then eventually, it got bigger. And all those emotions was around materialism around the world. And you got the Billy Grahams, don't you cut that God, which was a Satanist. And he put the fear of people to get rid of cannabis. He went at that did that. That's God right there, cannabis. And that's whenever that mind, that's how they got away with outlawing cannabis, is because that mind at one time was dumb, and now it's grown in to this bullshit. And then eventually TV, instead of this, with no knowledge whatsoever of what the anatomy is made of, not knowing about how to do any farming whatsoever, our grandparents or our bloodlines, if they farmed, they didn't do like the fucking Egyptians did. They took care of their people. They had shit put up for a very long time. And it's insanity because no school even has Olympic-sized swimming pools. Every school should have at least 5 acres of flowers, shrubs, herbs, spice, whatever. So when they get fucking mad and all the hallways covered with rosemary, lavender, sage, all kinds of shit, there would never be any anger. No, Matt. And see, this is the whole thing is that's a computer. That's a receiver. That's a transmitter. It's transmitting idiocy at a young age. And see, hell, you find out the grocery stores wasn't even open on Sundays, so everything was controlled. Those generations, the children were allowed to go in and buy cigarettes for a quarter, however much. Children 5 years old. You had children smoking 8, 9, even younger, but they'd be smoking because they never allowed them the privilege to grow tobacco on their own, so they would never have to spend money and they could prosper more. Took the cannabis, took everything, and then forced, here's alcohol, which they're dumb. I'm a weak-minded. We got this and this. Never taught how to be responsible with it or nothing. Here comes all the fucking jails, death, DUI, all that shit. And ever since then, it has just morphed more and more and more into full-blown fucking idiocy. Okay? Even the magazines, this is the Illuminati. You have no idea what y'all are under. Everything. Time magazine represents Saturn. That's Saturn. Time. Tim Allen, y'all, we all worshipped his show, and I did too. That's Timmy. That's Saturn. That's all it is. Al Bundy, A-L, that's E-L-L. That's Saturn too. It's all Saturn worship. What we've said. Saturn represents the color black. AC/DC, back in black. He's back. Satan. See, he even tells you in its song, Satan's coming for you, and he says nobody's even putting up a fight except MC. So now you get a better understanding, and then eventually you create, parks and shit, because the mind is already 7 generations or 6 into whatever technology comes out. Because then you got TV, beepers, remember, the cell phones, pay phones, landlines, and all that other shit. You can't, if you could do a timeline in your common sense head that you don't have, you could see it. A design of how man created us, poisoned us, excuse me, I've been yelling. In this reset, that's why our minds, all these newspapers and ads have always been here, buy this and this and this. And all the things that we could grow, you got to go buy? Hold the fuck up. Why ain't Billy Graham and them saying, you grow the best vegetables and trade for free, your government loves you? Nope. That's when it started. And I mean, we're selling, you go buy some good food. Seriously, some of y'all you do eat good. And you know what I'm talking about. Even some of y'all that have money, you know what I'm talking about. Those of y'all that broke, know what I'm talking about. Go over and buy dragon fruit. I think it's fucking $7. It's like, see how impossible it is for children to learn anything whatsoever. You learn the flowers or the leaves, but you don't learn the blossom, the root, the stem, the seed. You don't learn what it blossoms under, the constellation. The constellations give them colors, and the fucking Jupiter, Mars, Saturn, all that gives them their colors. But the constellations, the magnetism coming in that time of year through a certain constellation is what makes that flower bloom. And we are supposed to bloom through our whole young adolescent lives. But you're put into school system, sat down in desk. Posture creates diseases. So once you get 12 grades in, hell, a lot of the children that didn't play sports or anything, they're going to have diseases and have to go to chiropractors, doctors, and everything, and don't even know they were fucking forced into that. And then that woman gets pregnant, and then she slumps over with the baby. Now the baby's suffocating, and the fluids in the brain, and the baby fucks the brain up. Now that comes out sick. Now we got other shit. Do you not see how, it's so easy to see it, because it's so easy to see these fucking people and see how excited I get for you, because I want you to come out of it. You're generationally in this slave system, and it was set up. The birth certificate says commerce, that means capital. Each state, is a ship. The governor of that damn state represents the capital, which is us, property. The captain of the ship is governing that ship and that cargo and that property, that capital. When that captain of the ship gets to the damn port authority, which is the dock, it sits at its berth. The ship does. Well, when the woman goes to the hospital, which is a ship, she goes to the doctor and gives birth. Both of them get the same certificate of manifestation of existence. Doesn't matter. You are a UPC code. And people were like, "God, he's crazy." It says commerce right on it. And you just look at me. And ever since the beginning, it's been that and then straight into this. Whatever's on there, that's in every house, just like that was, just like that was. It's sad because none of them can fucking see it. And then when you go at all that generational seed of Satan, god damn, look at what happens. Love you.